Welcome to Tangling Along with me. I'm going to make a bookmark today and we are going to use this pattern right here for it. I like that very much, so I'm gonna try to make a bookmark with it. So I am using my Micron, the black one, and this is the PN for this pattern. So I'm just going to start with it. I'm actually going to start from the edge. And we did do this once. So we're just going to do it just like that time. Just having a little more space for it here. Starting with these V-shapes or mountains. And I'm gonna do the same down here. Kind of auraing the first V-shapes. There we go. So long, so good. Now we are going to make these lines. So I think I'm starting from this edge here. So I'm auraing the edge. And I'm doing that from one side to the other one and just closing off there, turning the bookmark here and doing it one more time. And then just continuing with auraing, turning my bookmark and doing it again. Remember to relax in your shoulders and your hands. And breathe. There we go. So that's the first part of this pattern. Then we're going to make this bow line between all these tubs. And I'm gonna turn my work and do the same on this side. And in both ends, just like that. And then I am going to do some lines actually from the middle here and to the outer ring. I just like to start from the outer ring and go to the middle. And I'm gonna do that in all of these shapes we have here. And I'm placing 4 lines here. You could place 5 or 6 if you have the room for it, or maybe only 3. Depending on how big or how small your pattern is. Doing the same on the other side. Just take your time with it and enjoy the process. This can be very relaxing if you want to. Don't be sad if your lines are a bit crooked or something like that. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I am going to make some roundings here. And instead of just making one side and then the other side, I find it easier to just make this kind of a bow shape, C shape, and then coloring it in here. Most of the time I like to make the C shapes first and then color in, but you can do it just as you feel like. Need one right here as well. There we go. And then I'm just gonna do this on all of these shapes we have here. Make these too small and again not too big. Just right in there. Or maybe you like them big, then do them big. Doesn't really matter. As long as you like it, it does not matter if they're big or small. And if you make your lines crooked here, you can always correct them a bit, because we are painting it all black. Turning around my bookmark, and I'm doing the same on this side. Remember to relax in your shoulder, your hands, and the grip around your pen also, so you don't squeeze it too much. Just relax and enjoy. I was actually wondering if you rather have me put on some music when I'm quiet, or you like to just sit here in the quietness together with me when we're tangling. Yeah, just a question. Would you like me to put on some music when I'm just quiet or not? And the last piece up here. There we go. Now we are on these orbs. So we're going to put orbs in here. Or on here. I like to start here at the bottom of the place where I need to place the orb. So I'm going a little away from the orb I just did, and then starting at the bottom, going up, hitting the other orb, and then just around. Well, that's how I do it. You might have another way to do it. Just try to find out what way you think is easiest for you, and then do it like that. And again, just take your time with this. And I'm actually coloring in these small spaces that I make in between the orbs. Oh, and another question. Do you want me to skip through these repeating things that I'm doing, like the orbs here on my upcoming videos? So just skip it till I'm all done with these? Or you want to be able to make it together with me? I really liked to know that. Because I can skip this for you if you want to. But I personally like to be able to draw along on these videos. I know they're going to be a little more longer, but personally I like to follow along in real time. But tell me what you'd like me to do, and I'll see what I can do. So that was one side, and I'm gonna do the same up this side here. So this was one of the parts that I could have skipped if you want me to. But today we are going to take it together, one step at a time, on this tangle, on my little bookmark here. If you want a break, you can always pause the video and take a tiny break and then come back when you're ready to draw. Oh, that was a little one. Just a few more and then this part is done. There we go. That's it. So that's a pattern as it is. Nothing more than that to it. but it is a little boring as a bookmark like this. So I was thinking of doing something interesting. I have my jelly roll. This is metallic and it's silver. It looks like there is a lot of glitter in this one, but there's not. It's actually just silver. So I'm just going to place a tiny dot of the silver here in these teardrop shapes. I could have used a white jelly roll as well, but I wanted to have something a little more shiny in here. So I'm just placing a tiny dot on each of these teardrop shapes. And remember, don't push with your jelly rolls. The more you push, the harder it is for the jelly to get out of there. So just a very light touch and you will get the best results with these. And on the other side as well. I don't know if it is visible on the camera, but it gives a tiny bit of a shine here on the paper. I like that. And careful with touching these until they're all dry, so that you don't smudge it all over the paper. There we go. I like that. I also brought a pin that is not a micron. I prefer my microns, but here it is a uni pen, a Fineliner, and it's water and fade proof, so it is actually also a very nice pen to work with. The only thing I will say about the Uniball uni pen, of course, Fineliners, is that when you're using a fixative on it, it is going through the paper. You have to have very thick paper before it's not going through with the fixative. So just have that in mind when you're using it. I was thinking of coloring in the background, at least on one of these sides here. I'm just careful here on the edge because I don't want the brown on my felt underneath here. But I like this brown color, it's very nice. It's not as dark as the dark Micron, the dark brown Micron, and it's darker than the light brown Micron, so it's somewhere in between those two colors, and I really like that. So I think it's annoying that the fixative is taking the color of the ink through the page, because I really like to use this one in one of my books, but I don't want it to go through the page, so I'm only using my microns for that. Almost done here. There we go. I kind of like that. That actually looks really cool. You could paint the other side as well, or color it in, or maybe with a white jelly roll or something else to give it a little contrast. Maybe even the silver jelly roll could be fun. Why not? Let's do that. So here I'm just going to be a little more careful around these orbs so that they don't disappear on me. And then I'm just going to color in this side here. Of the paper. This might be a little hard to see on camera, but I hope you can see it anyway. There we go. Don't put your hands in it. It's swapping the paper a tiny bit, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to laminate it later anyway. I'm going to take my graphite pen. This is just an HB pen, and I'm just going to carefully place a little graphite here where the two patterns is meeting. So this is kind of going under the other ones, so that's why I'm placing it right here. I'm just laying it on the paper. I'm not squeezing it into the paper. Taking my tortillon, and again I'm holding it in this angle so I'm not using the point, and I'm just going to small circle movements to get the graphite out on the paper and making the shadow with it. And again. And the last one over here. There we go. Then I'm just going to turn it around, and here you can see these lines are kind of going under there. So I am placing some graphite right here, and I'm using the side of the tip to place the graphite on the paper. And I'm not pushing it into the paper, because if I do that it's really hard to move it around, so I'm just carefully placing it on the paper. Like that, taking my tortillon and slowly soften out the edge here so it turns into a shadow instead of a blob. And this last one. And I have a tiny bit of graphite back in the pencil, so I'm just going to place that here, because there would have been a shadow right there anyway. I like that. I might have to go in here and make these a little more dark at the top here. Holding my pencil a little more straight this time, and again just taking my tortillon, just small circles. I'm not moving it that much this time, just a tiny bit. I like that better. And we can put a little graphite here where all the lines are connecting. These small fans are what they are. And just carefully inviting it into the paper to make a nice shadow. This is good. And on the other side as well, in the point of these. And then using my Tortillion. I'm going over to my white charcoal here because I think I'm gonna place a little of it here, and I'm just making some circle motions. And again, I'm not pushing it into the paper, I'm just placing it on the paper, because if I'm pushing it into the paper it's really hard to move it around. So I'm just very lightly placing it here on the paper. There we go. Taking my Tortillion for the white, I marked it white, and then just with that move it around and into the paper so that it gets into a light shadow or highlight. You can see I don't have any white lines on the paper, and that's because I'm not pushing it in the paper. Turn it around and do the same thing on these. Again, just placing the white on there. And using my Tortillion to smoothen it or soften it out. Onto the paper. There we go. I kind of like that. You can always place a little here in these fans here. Again, just placing it on the paper and then soften it out so you get this kind of highlight. And you can only do that if you have a colored paper. If you do it on white, you will not be able to do this. Let's do it on the other side as well. So I'm just carefully laying on some of the white charcoal here. Like that. Taking my Tortillion and for a last time just soften it out. Like that. I think I'm going to end with that. I like that a lot, and because it's a bookmark, I'm going to turn it around and I am going to write my initials here and of course my chop. And because it's a bookmark, I'm only writing the year on it. But you can write the date if you want to, or the name of the tangle. I actually think it turned out really neat. I am going to turn on my laminator and then we are going to laminate this one. So hang on for a second. I always run my laminating twice. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but I always do it twice. So now you have to cut it out into the size of your bookmark, and that's all there is for this bookmark. So I cut out the bookmark, and all I have to do now, if you want to, I have this corner cutter thing. Well, my husband have that one, so I can just round off the corners if I want to, making it a little more nice to handle. There we go. So nice rounded corner. That's the bookmark. I think it came out really cool. So thank you for watching. Have an attitude of gratitude.